विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य सेवियर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड शील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज शील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री द्वारकापुरी धाम की जय। गंगा मैया यमुना मैया की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। पतित पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री श्री रुक्मिणी द्वारकाधीश की जय। श्री श्री रुक्मिणी द्वारकानाथ की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। शील प्रभुपाद की जय। शील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। प्रसादम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायामुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Text 49. सश्रेयसामपि विभुर्भगवान् यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः। देहे स्वधातु विगमेनु विशीर्यमाणे व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः। सश्रेयसामपि विभुर्भगवान् यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः। देहे स्वधातु विगमे नु विशीर्यमाणे व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः। सश्रेयसामपि विभुर्भगवान्यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमेऽनुविशीर्यमाणे व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः स श्रेयसामपि विभुर्भगवान् यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमेऽनुविशीर्यमाणे व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमेऽनुविशीर्यमाणे व्योमेन तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः सश्रेयसामपि विभुर्भगवान् यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमेऽनुविशीर्यमाणे व्योमेन तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः माताजी सश्रेयसामपि विभुर्भगवान् यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमेऽनुविशीर्यमाणे व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः सश्रेयसामपि विभुर्भगवान् यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमेऽनुविशीर्यमाणे व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्यते जः सः ही श्रेयसाम all auspiciousness api also vibhu the master bhagavan the personality of godhead yataha because asya of the living entity bhava natural modes swabhava own constitution, vihitasya performances, sataha all good work, prasiddhi ultimate success, dehe of the body, swadhatu forming elements, vigame being vanquished, anu after, vishiryamane having given up, vyoma sky, iva like, tatra thereupon, purushaha the living entity, na never, vishiryate becomes vanquished, ajaha due to being unborn. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, He is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body. Purport. The living entity is unborn and eternal, and as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 30, the living entity is not exhausted even though the material elementary body is vanquished. As long as the living entity is in material existence, actions performed by him are rewarded in the next life or even in the present life. Similarly, in his spiritual life also, actions are rewarded by the Lord by the 5 kinds of liberation. Even the impersonalist cannot achieve the desired merging into the existence of the Supreme without being favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 11, that the Lord awards similar results as one desires in one's present life. The living entities are given freedom to make their choice, and the Lord awards them accordingly. It is the duty of everyone, therefore, to worship devoutly only the personality of Godhead to achieve his desired goal. The impersonalist, instead of speculating or meditating, can directly execute the routine devotional service of the Lord and thus easily obtain the desired goal. The devotees, however, are naturally inclined to become associates of the Lord and not merge in the spiritual existence as conceived by the impersonalists. The devotees, therefore, following their constitutional instincts, achieve the desired goal of becoming servitors, friends, fathers, mothers, or conjugal lovers of the Lord. The devotional service of the Lord involves 9 transcendental processes, such as hearing and chanting. And by performing such easy and natural devotional services, the devotees achieve the highest perfectional results, far, far superior to merging into the existence of Brahman. The devotees are therefore never advised to indulge in speculating upon the nature of the Supreme or artificially meditating on the void. One should not, however, mistakenly think that after the annihilation of this present body, there is no body by which one can associate with the Lord face to face. The living entity is unborn. It is not that he is manifest with the creation of the material body. On the other hand, it is true that the material body develops only by the desire of the living entity. The evolution of the material body is due to the desires of living being. According to the desires of the living being, the material body develops. So from the spirit soul, the material body comes into existence, generated from the living force. Since the living being is eternal, he exists just like the air within the body. Air is within and without the body. Therefore, when the external covering, the material body, is vanquished, the living spark, like the air within the body, continues to exist. And by the direction of the Lord, because he is the ultimate benefactor, the living entity is at once awarded the necessary spiritual body, befitting his association with the Lord in the manner of sarupya, equal bodily features, salokya, that's equal facility to live on the same planet with the Lord, sashti, equal possession of the opulence like the Lord, and samipya, equal association with the Lord. The Lord is so kind that even if a devotee of the Lord cannot fulfill the complete course of devotional service, unalloyed and uncontaminated by material association, he is given another chance in the next life by being awarded a birth in the family of a devotee or a rich man, so that without being engaged in the struggle for material existence, the devotee can finish the remaining purification of his existence, and thus immediately after relinquishing the present body, go back home, back to Godhead. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. In this connection, detailed information is available in the Bhagavad Sandarbha of Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada. Once achieving the spiritual existence, the devotee is eternally situated there, as already discussed in the previous verse. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Stam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings of all devotees so that I can speak something glorifying Lord for all of your pleasure and for my purification. So as Brahmaji is describing Shri Narad Muni about different incarnations of God, Krishna, he is now continuing that discussion. And in this verse, today's verse is mentioning that how the Lord is supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. Every individual living being is unborn, and therefore even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body. So Srila Prabhupada focuses on mainly like three aspects. First is we are not this body but spirit soul. Second, the desire of the spirit soul is the cause for his material body. And third, by performing devotional service, we can achieve our spiritual body in one of the 5 ways. For devotees, 4, for impersonalists, merging. So, in the translation, the first statement is pretty interesting, Just, personality of Godhead is supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by living being are awarded by the Lord. So I was just trying to meditate on this statement, that how the Lord is auspicious. So it's mentioned that the results of actions, whether it is good or bad, they are awarded by Krishna. But the beauty of that is, he does it in a way to bring ultimate auspiciousness in the life of a devotee. For example, Arjuna, before the fighting, they were knowing, who is the opponent. It was not surprising for Arjuna that Bhishma and Dronacharya, they are on opposing side, right? Just the day before the battle, there was a strategic meeting on the both sides, wherein Duryodhana asked Bhishma, please describe the strength of the warriors on the other side and the strength of the warriors in our side. In the same way, in the Pandavas camp, Drushtadumna and Bhima, along with Lord Krishna, Yudhishthir, they also discussed the strength of the opponents, and it was more than clear that yes, there is Bhishma and Dronacharya there, and other allies also. The allies were made openly. It was not that, somebody secretly supporting someone. No. But still, next day, when the battle was about to start, what Arjuna said? Please take me in the middle so that I can see who has come to fight. Right. So this was Arjuna's desire. So was he not knowing that who has come to fight? No, obviously he was knowing. It was well known, right? But still he went there. And then what happened? His emotions took over. He said, I just can't fight. Even if they are ready to kill me, I don't want to kill them, because they are my, near and dear ones. So Arjuna, by his own free will, own his desire, he put himself into a miserable situation. Right? He did a mistake. But Krishna brought ultimate auspiciousness from his mistake also. What came out is Bhagavad Gita, right? So, if a devotee is ready to listen to spiritual master, then even he makes some mistake, the auspiciousness will ultimately come. So that's what the meaning is, that the personality of Godhead is all auspicious because he awards the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being, either in the material or spiritual existence. Another example now, for those who are non-devotees, Krishna is still awarding them their reactions, right? So how is it auspicious? Krishna, like a strict father, has put those living entities in care of strict teacher. It's material energy. And what she is doing? Slap. Is slapping back and forth. Why? To make the spirit soul realize this is not your place. This is not what you are supposed to be doing. So that way, ultimately, the whole mechanism, Krishna has created this whole planetary systems, 14 planetary systems. There are different demigods in charge of different things. Why? Just to fulfill desire of a rebellious soul to enjoy separately from him. Because as a spirit soul is such a tiny personality that apart from desiring, like Prabhupada mentions in this verse, really cannot do anything. The soul can just desire that I want to enjoy. But does he has the facility? No. Does he has the power to direct the elements? No. So what Krishna does? As per his desires, like Prabhupada is mentioning in this verse, the spirit soul gets an appropriate material body. So Krishna creates that whole Mahat Tattva, 24 elements. And then he creates, he appoints Durga Devi as in charge to facilitate the desires he has. Then he creates all this, surroundings. And then he also puts another rebellious souls who also have similar desires, so that they interact with each other, try to figure out, can we, make something out of it? And then ultimately realize on one fine day, it's not the place I want to be. And then again, Krishna facilitates that desire to get out of this material world as well. So it is said we need to watch our desires because desires becomes, we have to watch our thought because thought becomes a desire. Watch our desire because desire becomes words. We have to watch our words because they become action. We have to watch our action because it becomes habit. We have to watch our habits because it becomes character. We have to watch our character because it becomes the culture. So it all starts with positive desire. If we have positive desire, ultimately the character and culture and the end result would be positive. If we have a desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, then ultimately we will have a culture where everybody wants to enjoy themselves. So, Prabhupada, as very beautifully is mentioning in this purport, first, we are not this body, we are spirit soul. He gives the example that the air within the body is like the body is outer covering, and he's quoting from Bhagavad Gita that how we are not this body, we are spirit soul. Basics. Then second, he is telling how the desire of a soul is responsible for the body. Then third thing he is telling, but the devotees are very intelligent that by performing this, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, the 9 processes of devotional service, they can achieve one of the 5 liberations But of course, he again mentions devotee are interested only in four. The fifth one is reserved for impersonalists. Sarupya, that is equal in bodily feature, or Salokya, equal in facility to live on the same planet of the Lord. Srashti, equal possession of the opulence like the Lord. And Samipya, the equal association of the Lord. So by performing devotional service, Lord awards one of this liberation. And then he again quotes this famous verse, description in Bhagavad Gita, that Shuchinam Shunvatam Gehe, that even if somebody is not able to fulfill complete devotional service, he is born in the family of a rich or a devotee, so that he can continue his life. So this way, continue his spiritual life. This way, until individual soul goes back to spiritual world, Krishna is with him, trying to bring him all auspiciousness. So this is the merciful nature of Lord. And once gone there, yadgatvana nivartante, we won't come back. Now there can be this is a point of discussion for ages. First, why soul came back at the first place, and second, what is guarantee once going back we won't come back. These two generally those who understand the nature of soul for the first time, they have these two typical questions, right? So why we came back? Prabhupada says, you have come back, now work on going back, whatever, because there the argument is that if soul is Satchitananda, soul is all-knowing, then why did he come back? So, the Acharyas, they explain, reason, the desire to enjoy, separate from Krishna. So this is one. Some devotees, they explain that is, out of curiosity. Like there is some horror movie that, so people know if I go there, everything is dark. I may, there are cases like, in India, some producer made a horror movie and he said, if somebody watches it alone in the theater, I'll award him, 1 lakh rupees. And then somebody tried and he died out of heart attack, because nobody was surrounding. Now this fellow was knowing that if I go inside, there's going to be something, of horrible nature, right? It may be, scary. It was very well known. Why he still went? Out of curiosity. What's inside it? So same way, the spirit soul wanted to see, how it looks like to enjoy separate from Krishna, out of curiosity. Yes, come back here. And then, anyway, we are here now. So what is guarantee once we go back, we won't come back? It's like we have that experience now. Curiosity phase is over. So we won't come back unless you have desire to, preach. That's another complete category. But so this way, Krishna has laid down the whole plan for a spirit soul to give the facility to, if he wants to enjoy in this material world, then, get purified by trying to do that. And once his eyes are open, then practice devotional service and go back to spiritual world. So this is the merciful nature of the Lord. And that's why, Prabhupada is mentioning that he is all master of everything auspicious. Even killing of demons by Krishna is all auspicious. Even awarding liberation, that's also all auspicious. So, Krishna is such an absolute personality that there cannot be any inauspiciousness in the presence of Lord or his devotees. This is a famous pastime of Srivas Thakur. They were performing kirtan, and that time one of his sons dies. And then the ladies, they started crying, it's natural, right? So Srivas Thakur goes there and he says, what happens? He says, your son is dead. He said, that's fine. Just don't cry. If by your crying, Lord Chaitanya's dancing get disturbs, I'll commit suicide. Imagine, was it that Srivas Thakur was hard-hearted? No, his heart was soft like butter. We know that the Gopal Chappal who offended him left and right, when he was suffering for leprosy, Lord Chaitanya said, go and ask forgiveness from Shiva. He said, you never offended me. He just embraced him right away. That was his soft nature, wherein he was ready to forgive a person who had worked extra overtime to defame Shivas. So, will he not feel bad by death of his own son? Naturally. But service to Lord was his main focus. So he went and he danced in more ecstatic way than before actually. But again, Lord Chaitanya being Paramatma, he came to know after some time that there seems to be something wrong. So he asked, oh Shivas, is there something inauspicious happened in your house? So what Shivas Thakur says? Oh, my son dies, such a... No. What he said? Oh Lord, in your presence, is there any chance of something inauspiciousness happening? Is everything is auspicious? And then some other devotee, they explain, oh, his son has died. And then Lord Chaitanya says, when? He says, maybe, 4 or 5 hours before. Why did not even tell? And then we know, Lord Chaitanya goes and brings back that son to life and he speaks, right? So this shows that in the presence of Lord, even death is all auspicious. It is said that in Mahabharata war, Arjuna's arrows, they were purifying the soldiers, and then they were watching the beautiful moon-like face of Krishna and leaving their bodies. And then, attending liberation. So that's the beauty, that even the most gruesome killing is all auspicious. Putana, we know that, came to kill. What Krishna did? Made her mother. Just see the supreme auspiciousness Krishna has. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, once somebody wrote an blasphemous article. So he was counting how many times they have written Krishna, in the article. And he says, see, this many times they got purified. Ajamila's pastime, Yamraj says that, even if somebody takes the holy name, as a disgust or as a jokingly or, in a manner of sarcasm, still it's all auspicious. Right? So this is the beautiful Lord Prabhupada has given us access to. So to summarize, actually, we saw that how Lord is all auspicious in awarding results, though it is material or spiritual. And then Prabhupada beautifully mentions 3 points. How we are not this body, we are spirit soul. Our desires shapes our body. And once devotee gets perfect, he can relate, like it's not that there is no body afterwards. He says there is a spiritual body in which you can relate to Lord. In one of the rasas, Sakya Dasya, Prabhupada quotes that. And for impersonalist, there is a impersonal liberation, but devotees don't want that. And once we go back, we won't come back. So we would like to end with one prayer. This is from Padyavali. It says, may the lotus arms of Sri Krishna Chandra, the enemy of Kamsa, always bestow auspiciousness upon you all. Arms that are decorated with golden armlets and peacock feathers. Arms that are smeared with the mineral pigments of Govardhan hill. Arms that become the 2 blue pillows for the supremely enchanting gopis in the Nikunjas of Sri Vrindavan. Arms that are now anointed with the fragrant liquid flowing from the cranial globes of the maddened elephant Kualayapid. So, with this prayer, let's, we'd like to stop. Any questions, comments? Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned once going back to the spiritual world, you don't come back again. But is that a general principle or is that an absolute principle?
So, in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada mentions Yadagatvana nivartante tadhamam paramamama. So once going back, we don't come back. So this is the general principle. In terms of some special devotees who want to render service, who want to preach like Prabhupada also mentions that, right? I don't want it to come, but Krishna said, you go back, I'll take care. So some Nitya Siddha devotees may come here for the sake of preaching. So in that case, in that sense, there is a facility if you want to come for serving Lord, of course. So that's my understanding. Prabhuji wants to add anything, or yes?
Okay, does someone want to add to that? No? Okay. Well, I have a question, but I did hear I heard in a class, I believe, regarding this point, that it's like if a child puts his hand in fire, generally speaking, he's not going to do that again because he learned his lesson. But if he wants to, he can. He can burn himself twice. So the jiva can come back, as far as my understanding. But generally they don't, because obviously they learned their lesson. But I don't know if that's 100% correct.
Yeah, because the free will is always there with the spirit soul. Yeah. Krishna never takes that away. So.
Okay, I have a comment real quick. I like, you were mentioning how Srila Prabhupada was describing 3 main points. That we are not this body, we're not the material body, and it's due to the desire of the jiva soul that we have a body. So that's the second point. And the third point is through devotional service, one can get his original spiritual body. So that's really nice. It's like the whole philosophy in one purport right there in a nice package. And I heard from one devotee was telling me, he was quoting Prabhupada. I've never heard Prabhupada say this, but this devotee was saying that Prabhupada said that a perfect class just comprises a few things. The understanding that we're not the material body, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Krishna. So if you have those 4 points in your class, it's a perfect class. So I just wanted to mention that. And one question I have was in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that if you don't perfect your devotional service in this life, then you have a chance to be born in a devotee family or a family of aristocracy to continue. So I hope I'm not offending anyone by asking this, but it's a curiosity of mine. Why do most devotees I know of that are born in a devotee family, they don't seem so serious? I mean, generally speaking, obviously there's a few that I see that are very serious, whereas someone who's coming from a degraded background, who knows nothing of devotional service while growing up, somehow gets a book or something, that person, a lot of them take it very seriously. So why does that phenomenon exist?
Yeah, so thank you for summarizing those things. The devotional life is not limited to this current life. We know that the spiritual bank account, it's eternal. So for somebody who apparently may not be so serious now, we don't know that he may have completed 99%. It's just that he's away for some time because of some reason, and then when he comes back, it would be like fire. He'll just he may just go back. And for someone who may be looking very serious now, he may have just started. So for us, it's very difficult to judge. Yes, as you mentioned, that it may be visibly seen that many devotees' kids, they are not so much serious about Krishna consciousness. But we really don't know how much they have completed their spiritual quota. Like for example, if 100% is required, 100% purification, we don't know if they are at 1% or if we don't know if they are at 99.9%. So on safer side, better not to judge anyone. And then of course, on practical level, there can be some bad experiences because of which they may have drifted away from movement. We can try to address those and try to bring them back. And then so there are two ways. So from organizational perspective, we do all the necessary things to either rectify the systems so that the reasons why they went away, that's not happened again with the other people, and try to do something so that they come back. And from our perspective, we think that Maya is such a strong personality that if I am not careful, this can even happen to me. That if I am not careful in, if I do any of the apradhas, offenses towards devotee and this thing, even I am serious now, this can happen to you and me. We know that even many Prabhupada disciples, it happened to them. So we, from external sense, we may see that they have gone, but we really don't know when they'll come back and when. So to be on a safer side, we can always think that, they are very advanced and, Krishna will bring them back. But on practical level, we if we are if we have those manager roles, we do all the necessary things so that the same thing doesn't happen to other devotees. And at the same time, we become more careful that, hey, this spirit soul, he must be, on the path of devotional service. That's why he's born in devotee family. But because of his inattentiveness, he has gone away for some time now. So if I am not born in devotee family, but somehow I have still got it, so how careful I should be to continue it nicely. So these are two aspects, That makes sense? Yeah. So that way, so yes, and then we can always pray, that, whatever reasons they have gone back. And we know that many of them, like I know a few devotees who went back, who again came back. Like even some Prabhupada disciples, when Prabhupada left, many devotees left. But towards the end, they suddenly came in touch with devotees and just, they say, they were crying like Prabhupada at the time of death, or Lord Krishna's name at the time of death. So we really don't know, because in the span of eternity, this life is just like a spot, insignificant spot. So even if somebody is away for one life, for Krishna's matter, the 60, 70 years is nothing in terms of eternity. Krishna will bring them back eventually. But when Krishna says the process once started, it will drag you to perfection, we need to have faith on that. It's what Jiva can do is that only delay how much, when you want to get perfected. But he cannot avoid being perfected. The only thing a Jiva can do is, by offending devotees, delay going back to spiritual world, but he cannot avoid going back to spiritual world. Someday or other, the process of devotional service and then the causeless mercy of devotees, it will purify them and take them. Even if they don't do anything, there will be devotees like, this Vasudeva Dutt, the leper, right? He asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, take everybody back to spiritual world, let me suffer, right? So that way eventually they will go, but it's only the delay. So that clarifies? Any comments?
Oh, just this last part that even sometimes this is very difficult to understand, but even the great devotees like Srila Prabhupada, we know his children, not everybody became as we wanted to be seen. And also Advaita Acharya, Supreme Personality of Godhead, he also, his sons, some of them took it, some other ones they didn't.
Yeah.
And so on and on. So in my understanding is that we all have still that free will and choices.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
to categorize something and put it in it wouldn't be that
Yes.
fair because it's not, we cannot understand.
Right. Yes. Okay. Should we discuss in person? Actually. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
And just the last point is, Prabhupada often said that Westerners, they have two diseases. They're not sufficiently scared of the material energy and they don't cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
So not being sufficiently scared of the material energy, living entity can easily fall away from the path of devotional service.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for adding. Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.